So I got a fuel leak on my truck. Started smelling gas every so often, probably a month ago. And then it threw a code for a minor evap leak the other day. So I reset the code, then I really started smelling gas strong. And this is the gas tank here. And I think I'm leaking from a line on top of the tank because it's only wet when the truck's running. And I notice when I go to start it in the morning, it's almost like it lost its prime and it has to crank over for 5 or 10 seconds before it starts. So to me, that's indicative of that line coming off the top of the tank. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this tank and see what we have. As you can tell, I got the tank supported with this 1x6, I don't know, it's a few feet long anyway, and it just fits in between these two straps. So it's gonna hopefully hold the weight of this thing while I remove these straps. All right, guys, so we got the tank out of the truck. Sorry, I couldn't show you a lot of that. It was just too tight under there. My leak was right here, and this section of line here, this line here was intact, but when I was in the process of removing the tank, I could tell it was super weak, so I just snapped it off. There's actually a rot hole in the top of this housing. If I hold it up to the light, you might see it, but it's rotted clean through. So even if that line hadn't rotted, this thing was on borrowed time. Okay, I got my new fuel pump in the mail today. So just looking at the two of them side by side, they're identical. I went ahead and I also bought a new O-ring and a new lock ring, just to eliminate any chance of failure. This is the sending unit with a module and a level sensor included in one. It's one assembly. The only thing I'm missing off of this new one that I have on the old one is this little black wire retainer right here, or clip retainer. I'm just gonna move that to the other one and we should be good. A little bit of a problem here, let me show you. There's two fuel lines coming off the tank. I don't know much about fuel systems. In fact, this is the first time I've done a fuel pump, in-tank fuel pump on any of my vehicles. So I'm kind of learning as I'm going here. But there are two fuel lines that come off of that sending unit. I'm assuming one is a supply and the other one's a return of some sort. This being the supply. I got this clip off, loose. However, the steel line's broken off in there. I grabbed this with a pair of vice grip needle nose pliers and I cannot work that line out of there to save my life. General Motors doesn't sell these connectors. You have to buy this entire line. I didn't even bother pricing it because I'm sure it's an arm and a leg. And I'm running into the same issue with the other line, the return line. I can't get the connector apart. So what I did today, I shopped around some of the auto parts stores. And I gotta say, if this works, Napa really came through for me. I found these like universal connectors, and they're 5/16 nylon. They're for 5/16 nylon line to steel line. So I'm gonna hope these work, and I'm gonna hope there's enough slack in these lines that by cutting out this section of bad line, I'll be able to put this new one in here and get this thing back together on the cheap. Okay, it works out that I bought two different boxes of connectors because I didn't realize it before, but one line coming off the module is 3/8, the other one's 5/16. So the only way I've found to put these new fuel line fittings on without a tool is to heat the line up good and soft with a heat gun, and then go ahead and twist the fitting in with all your strength, and hopefully you can bottom it out like that one there. I probably went a little too excessive with the heat with that, but I think it's going to be a fine connection. I got like 3 or 4 barbs caught on there. So now I'm going to head and go. I'm going to do the 3/8 fitting the same way. It's obviously not the weapon of choice, but I don't have a set of punches, so I'm going to go ahead and use a screwdriver to put this thing on. Keep your fingers crossed. I need all the help I can get here. I'm not sure. I think I heard the pump run. Let's give it a shot here. The gauge is working. That's a good thing. Hey now. All right, guys, we are done. That big red mark on my head. I had my headlight on here. This, by the way, if you work outside after dark, this is made by Streamlight, and it is phenomenal. Must have it. Yeah, it's LED because I've never changed the battery in this thing. It's got 1 cell in it, and the thing's probably 10 years old and it's still going strong. Anyway, I'm gonna let this thing run for probably 10 minutes, look for leaks, and if I don't have any, I'm gonna consider this job done. Thanks for watching, you guys.